In this video, I am going to be going over the different types of female orgasms. And in case you didn't know, we as women are extremely lucky that we have a whole array of orgasms available to us. Now, by no means do I want you to get overwhelmed and feel like you have to tick the box for every single orgasm and you have to experience them all, but I'm just laying them all out for you just like a buffet, and then you can pick and choose which one you would like to explore. Before we dive in, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like this type of content. It's super supportive for me. And let's jump right in. So the first orgasm I'm going to be talking about is the famous clitoral orgasm. This is the orgasm that's received most of the attention and that most women have experienced. It's an orgasm which tends to feel very explosive, very fiery, but generally doesn't last very long. I like to think of this one as a volcanic explosion at the level of your genitals. Because the clitoris is largely an external part of your genital anatomy on your vulva, it tends to be the orgasm that most women are most familiar with. But know that there is a whole other range of orgasms available to you. Next, we have the breast and nipple orgasm. These orgasms tend to feel very heart expanding and can be a very connecting experience. Then we have our G-spot orgasm, which has also kind of received quite a bit of fame, not as much as a clitoris, but it's the runner-up. And this orgasm tends to be very releasing, it can be very emotional, and it can also be very juicy because it can be accompanied by squirting. If you're interested in squirting, I have an entire video dedicated to that topic, and I'll link that down below. Now, if you go a little bit deeper, right beyond the G-spot, between the G-spot and your cervix on the anterior wall of your vagina is the A-spot, which stands for anterior fornix. This is one of my favorite areas, and it's actually really not talked about much. But for a lot of women, the A-spot is a lot more sensitive than the G-spot. These orgasms also tend to be very wet and juicy. It can also induce squirting, and in general, it feels like a full body opening. If you want to locate your A-spot, you can simply place your fingers inside of your vagina and touch the front wall. And right at the beginning, you'll feel some rigid texture. That's your G-spot. And if you go a little bit deeper, you'll feel more of a soft, spongy texture on the upper wall, and that is your A-spot. Now, if we go even deeper, we arrive to the magical cervix. And the cervix is the jewel of the feminine body, and cervical orgasms are profound spiritual experiences. These orgasms tend to take you from sex to spirit and be very healing and empowering. I have an entire video dedicated just to the cervix because it really deserves not just one video. I could do plenty more videos on the cervix. So I'll link that down below. So if you're curious to explore that part of your body, make sure to check it out. Then when we go a little bit more back, we can find our back door to pleasure, the anal orgasm. Anal orgasms tend to feel extremely primal and earthy. This is where you can access your inner wild woman. A lot of women tend to moan and scream in a very primal way during anal orgasms. It's also a great orgasm to release shame or inhibition because our anus in general has so much taboo related to it that having anal orgasms can actually be really beneficial to shed any shame you may have. Next, we have blended orgasms, which is basically a blend of any of the other type of orgasms together. So this is where things can get really interesting. For example, you can have a nipple orgasm while you have a clitoral orgasm, or a G-spot orgasm at the same time as having a cervical orgasm. And I like to think about our orgasmic capacities as kind of making a special dish. So we can add in different ingredients and it will make the overall flavor very different. So in blended orgasms, we can start to really diversify the type of sensations we feel by blending different erogenous zones in our bodies. Then next we have energetic orgasms or tantric orgasms. These orgasms can originate from everywhere and they don't even necessarily need physical touch. They can come through breath or through meditation or through intention. And this is where we really take the road from sex to love or sex to spirit. These feel like full body orgasms that don't necessarily feel extremely erotic in nature, but they feel extremely blissful on a deep, deep soul level. These are the different types of female orgasms. By no means is this an exhaustive list, but these are the most common types of female orgasms. Now, you may have experienced some of these orgasms before. Some of these may be completely foreign to you. And I always like to say that orgasm is a learnable skill. So if you haven't experienced an orgasm yet, it does not mean that you can't. It simply means that you haven't learned how to yet. So through self-pleasuring and through experimenting with arousing these different erogenous zones, you can start to expand your orgasmic capacities.